Hey Teo, how many days until the Kitasan banner? Wait, 3? Oh god. Okay, so as many of you probably know, the Kitasan Black support card banner is coming soon. And at max limit break, it is a very strong, meta-defining card. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a video talking about Kitasan Black because it's a delicate topic, and there's also a lot of other videos specifically about Kitasan Black already made by other great Uma Musume creators. But it is an important topic, especially considering that I personally swiped for it on JP and regretted it. More on that at the end. But if you're tired about people talking about this card and already know what you're going to do, then by all means, close the video. But if you're still unsure on what you want to do, then I'll try to provide my thoughts here in an unbiased way. So first, I'll briefly go over why Kitasan is good. At a base level with 1 copy, Kitasan is a flexible speed card. She's got good support events that give a mixture of mood ups, energy, raw stats, and even an option to get perfect practice. Her skills are also good with an array of non-conditional speed and stamina skills, including a good gold border speed skill that's usable by anyone. The unique ability on her card is also great. One is giving increased stat bonuses every time she's on a training, and the second is having a slight specialty rate up stat, which means she tends to be on speed more often, which also means you'll get a bit more rainbows more often. So at 0 limit breaks, Kitasan is a solid speed option that you can use in any Uma's career. However, at just 0 limit break, she's far from game breaking. This is a reference tier list from a document made by community veterans, link in the description, that in my opinion has a good comparison on how strong cards are compared to each other. As you can see, Kitasan 0 limit break is on the same tier as a 0 limit break SR sweep Tosho, and it's also considered worse than many other 0 limit break speed SSRs as well. When Kitasan starts getting broken is when you get her to limit break 3 and 4, which ups her specialty rate up to incredibly high levels, which turns her into a rainbow generating machine. With the limit breaks, she ends up on speed training about 33% of the time, meaning that on average you'll have a lot less low value training days. And this is also much higher than the other max limit break speed cards in the game. So overall, a maxed out Kitasan will give you a ton more rainbow speed trainings, and in a way it exponentially multiplies her natural power from her training stat bonuses already by adding in a ton of consistency as well. Not to mention the power bonus she gets too, which means you get a sizable power boost as well with every Kitasan speed training. And with speed being the most important card type in any deck, a maxed limit Kitasan is good for any Uma and any scenario, making her the sole SS tier support card for a while. Now that you have a general idea of why Kitasan is good, we have to talk about the gacha part of this game. Don't get me wrong, the core gameplay of Uma Musume is very fun and I enjoy it a lot. There is lots of randomness and interesting decisions to make on every single run, but at the end of the day, it's still a gacha game. And not a particularly generous one at that. After the initial burst of carrots you get at the start from things like main missions and archive levels and stuff, besides holiday events and festivals, the free-to-play carrot supply slows down pretty fast. And a big part of the renewable carrots is tied to PvP events, which of course favors the whales, and is undoubtedly intended to urge people into spending more since no one likes the feeling of losing. And that's not to mention the rates of the gacha, which are particularly bad for gacha games at 0.75%, with no soft pity and an abysmal 200 pulls for hard pity with no carryover between banners. If you don't have a full 30k carrots saved up for the banner, aka 200 pulls, then there's a good chance if you roll you'll end up with 0 Kitasans, which will definitely feel pretty bad. But does that mean you shouldn't roll at all if you're under 30k? Well, the situation is a little complicated, but I'll try my best to explain all the factors. First of all, Kitasan's main OP-ness comes from being at max limit break, where the odds she ends up on speed trainings goes up drastically. I'd go so far as to say if you only have a 0 limit break Kitasan, it would still be worth borrowing someone else's max Kitasan for your runs. Yes, using your own means you can still borrow other max cards like Super Creek, but as a free-to-play, you can still max SR cards without much trouble. And what would you rather have in your run? This or that? I think most veterans would consider the max Kitasan option significantly stronger for your runs. If zero limit break Kitasan is so weak, does that mean you should just pass the banner? Well, not really, because the main goal by getting one copy of Kitasan is to eventually bring it up to a max limit break. And there are a couple events that will help you as a free-to-play, such as a SSR selector ticket for Anniversary, which I'm not really sure how soon we'll get, and the introduction of Rainbow Crystal Fragments, a currency that you can use to limit break any SSR card, but will take you months of dedication and playing events before you reach those Kitasan limit break levels that make her so good. If you love Uma Musume and you see yourself playing it daily for many months, and you want to build the best Umas you can as a free-to-play player, then yes, getting a Kitasan copy here, or even saving a full 200 rolls to guarantee one on the rerun banner, would be a good first step towards the long journey of eventually getting your own maxed Kitasan. And at the end of it, you will be a strong free-to-play account. Would I recommend you to re-roll your entire account to get Kitasans like some people are saying to do? Well, no. Even in the best case scenario that you hit the 0.75% chance 3 times, you're still stuck with a limit break 2 Kitasan. Still very underwhelming compared to the whales and their maxed Kitasans, and it'll still take you months before you can upgrade it as a free to play. You will end up getting a max Kitasan a bit earlier as a free-to-play eventually, but I personally think that sacrifices a lot of early game enjoyment for maybe a slightly better experience down the line. Is that worth it? I don't know, only you can be the judge of that. If you're not sure if this year-long journey raising a max Kitasan is appealing to you, or you don't manage to get a copy on this banner, or you just want to roll for your Uma waifus, then there's nothing wrong with just borrowing max Kitasans. You get unlimited support card borrows a day, so you can still enjoy the benefits of a max Kitasan for every single run you do as a free-to-play. Now, you won't be able to borrow other cards, but max limit break SR cards are very realistic to get as a free-to-play, and they are very competitive with SSR cards. It's worth noting that the more you save your carrots, the harder it will be to max limit break your SR card, since more cards get added to the pool that you could potentially pull from. Like I mentioned earlier, maxed SR cards are often straight up better than unmaxed SSR cards. And as a free-to-play, you should never expect to get a max limit break SSR. If you do decide to roll on this banner, SR cards should honestly be what you look forward to the most when you roll. Because if you end up rolling max SR cards, you can use them now for powerful runs now, while getting one Kitasan will still take maybe a year of work before you're finally able to limit break her enough to finally have her become stronger than SRs. So there's a lot of factors at play, but hopefully I've given you at least the considerations needed for making the decision that feels right for you. Just don't do what I did. On JP, I borrowed a max Kitasan every day until the rerun banner dropped, which came as a surprise to everyone. I didn't have that many carrots, so I rolled with what I had, and I didn't get a card. And I was so FOMO'd that I swiped and dropped hundreds of USD to finish out the pity spark, just to get a single zero limit break card that I still couldn't use for months because it still wasn't stronger than my limit broken SR speed cards. In the end, I was still just borrowing max Kitasans from the whales anyways. I realized I fell for the predatory gacha mechanics, and even though I could afford it, it still left a bitter taste in my mouth for a long time. I could have used that money to buy Urara like 3 tons of high quality grass feed instead. Yes, I know I was stupid, but if this video can save one person from making a regretful decision, then I think it was a good video for me to make. So at the end of the day, please just don't get sucked into the fear of missing out and spending more than you're comfortable with. The entire game is built around tempting you to spend as much as you can after all. And most of all, remember to have fun with the game. This is a technical game, but you don't need to min-max the fun out of it. Your Umas will still appreciate you as a trainer, even without whaling or grinding for a year just to get a max limit break Kitasan Black. Thanks for listening to my rambling thoughts. I try to make this as structured as possible, but there's just so many different things to bring up. Hopefully it made some sense to you though. Anyways, if you're rolling on the Kitasan banner, I wish you the best of luck, and also wish me luck. Smile. As always, I appreciate the support you guys give me, and I'll see you around, Trainer Sans.